Now, shh. Does anyone know what the values, the terms inside of the square root in the quadratic formula are called? Oh my gosh, yes, they're called the discriminant. Very good. The discriminant is special. Does anyone know why it's special? No, it's not racist now. The discriminant is special.
Say you're sorry to the chat.
That's not nice.
She asked for it back.
Yes, but...
She asked for you.
Okay.
She threw it at you.
The discriminant is special because it will tell you how many solutions you should end up with. It can also tell you what is the best way for you to solve the quadratic. So what were the two major ways we talked about again to solve? Factoring and quadratic formula. So the discriminant will tell you which one is easiest to use. And it'll tell you how many solutions you should end up with. So if this b squared minus 4ac, we're almost done. Just a little bit longer. Then I'll give you candy. Okay. If this b squared minus 4ac is a positive perfect square. Give me an example of a positive perfect square.
12 and 12. 4, 4.
Yes, 144. So if inside of the square root it's 144, how many solutions do you think we're going to end up with?
2.
Why 2? Because it's plus or minus the discriminant, right? It's negative b plus or minus the square root. So if I have plus or minus 12, that means I'm going to have 2 solutions. Now, if I have plus or minus 12, what do you think is the easiest way to solve this problem? Factoring or quadratic formula? If it's a whole number.
Factor.
It's actually factoring. What if it's a positive non-perfect square? Like,
Quadratic.
let's do that 540, like this. How many solutions do you think we're going to end up with there?
0.
Is it still plus or minus before that discriminant?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So we still have 2. Oh no, it's going to crash. So we still have 2. Now, this is not a perfect square. So what do you think is the easiest way to solve this one? It is the quadratic formula. What if it's 0? So it's going to be the square root of 0.
0.
So it's still a number plus or minus.
1.
It's 1, right? Because what is 1 plus 0? 1. What is 1 minus 0?
0.
1. It's still just one solution, yeah. And what do you think is the easiest way to solve this one? Again, there are only 2 where factoring is the easiest. When you have a perfect square, a positive perfect square, and when you have 0. Okay, what about a negative perfect square, like negative 144? Can you factor that, you think, if there's a negative in a square root? No, it's imaginary. So how many solutions will we end up with, though?
1.
We'll still have 2, but both will be what?
Imaginary.
Yes. Both will be imaginary. And what's the easiest way to solve this?
Quadratic.
Quadratic formula. You literally cannot factor an imaginary number, so we have to use the quadratic formula. And what if it is a negative non-perfect square, like negative 540?
1.
How many solutions? We still have a plus or minus, so it's still 2. They're both imaginary still. And we again use the quadratic formula.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Yes. So guys, on your test, you will be asked to find out what the discriminant is for a quadratic, and then you will be asked, does it factor? And what are the only two that you're going to answer yes for?
Positive and 0.
Yes, positive, perfect square, and 0. Does that make sense, Max?
Yes.
What did I just say?
Factor to 0.
Okay, close enough.